Oh, hello there. Welcome to Miniocalypse. I'm Jamie. Today's episode, Army Painter paints and some dragons. And also, we'll be going over the Nolzur's Marvelous Pigment Underdark paint set. And we'll be testing out Army Painter paints. Here we go. Nolzur's Marvelous Pigment Underdark paint set. Let's have a read. Deep under the crust of the adventurer's feet lies a whole world of terror and evil. To some, it is best avoided. To others, it is a calling. To most, it is death. Welcome, adventurer, to the Underdark, the most hostile and dark place to imagine. A place where nightmares are real and aberrations spilled forth from the depths of terror. All right. Alright, now that we got it busted open, let's check out this beautiful figure here. Oh yes, Drizzt Do'Urden, my probably favorite story character. Check out R.A. Salvatore and the Legend of Drizzt series. If you haven't read these books and you're into fantasy, you're missing out. Have a little bit of a closer look at the paints here. All of these paints are made by the Army Painter, so I am highly interested in trying these. Durgar Metal, Putrid Slime, Underdark Gray, Blah 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 Blah, Purple, Lich Blue, Xanthar Blue, Sturge Tan, Rigid Leather, Succubus Red, Ancient Mummy. Should have filmed that slower. And here's a little bit about Drizzt. Oh man, too excited. Not today. Today we're painting these. I won these from Mini Wizard Studios on his Instagram giveaway. Thank you, Mini Wizard Studios. We've got some skeleton beastie dragons and some rocky cute dragons. Let's get them open. Woo! Alright. 3 heads, cool. Skeletal Manticore. Ta-da! Okay, let's test out these paints. First, we're going to check out the browns. We're going to do each one in a different brown base coat, and we'll see how that goes. First things first, check out the old homemade wet palette, check the paper, check the sponges. Looks good, looks good. Alright. Drop a paint here, drop a paint there, and we're ready to start painting. Alright, right off the bat, this brown covers okay, not the best, but I do like its color. Onto the leather brown. This brown seems to have a lot better coverage. It's fairly lighter, but also a nice brown color. It's going to look good underneath the bone. Let's open up the others here. Scheming Rocky. Magic. And Flying Rocky. Just pull him right out here. Oh man. More magic. Look at Flying Rocky. He is awesome. Okay, so same as the other skeletal dragons, we're gonna get some base coats going on these cute little guys. Starting with, we're gonna do blues and reds. Pick the darkest blue out of the three that we chose here, Lich Blue. And again, it goes on quite thin, but still seems to do an alright job. I actually really like this blue. It's nice and thin, it goes right into the recesses. And it's a pretty cool color. Now some Dragon Red. This paint comes out nice and bright and seems to cover a little better than the blue, but not much difference. Over the 4 paints so far, I'm starting to realize Army Painter paints are a little bit thinner. Let's go in with 2 colors for the bases. Let's get the wing membrane and the bellies. We'll use this color here is, it's probably the worst one yet. It's a nice color, but definitely not covering very well. To be fair, I shook these probably not the best. I did shake them all, but I do believe with Army Painter paints, you're going to want to shake them quite a bit more than what you would expect. Have to try out some mixing balls. Maybe that'll make the paint cover a lot smoother. I did the same to the blue model, I just lost the footage. So let's try to make a wash. Step 2 really in my painting process, a base coat. Now we're on to a wash with the Farahara purple. I can't say that word. Mix in a little brown to mute that purple down some. And here we're just gonna get our mix on for a second. Decided I needed a little red in there. Just picked it up right off of what was already on the palette. A little more brown. Mix it real quick. And a drop of this. Some airbrush flow improver. Or you could use water. I wanted to see how the paints worked with the flow improver. And though it's covering and getting bubbly, I'm gonna say that the Army Painter paints, maybe it was the Vallejo airbrush flow improver, but honestly, as a wash, they were working better with tap water or purified water. So we're mixing up another wash here, and we're gonna test this one with the water just to see. Get it mixed up. Mix, 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 mix. Mixity, mix, mix. I really like watching the paint mix. Let me know if you think it's cool down in the comments. And there's that water, and we're just basically creating a wash. See, this with the water flowed down much better, less bubbles. It's hitting more of the recesses instead of more like it was filtering the top. Here's a better example. I went ahead and used this wash on these bone dragons as well to, I don't know, to see how some purple worked as a shade. And generally we're just testing out these Army Painter paints to see if they're worth investing in. They are, and this is not a bad thing, but they are one of the lower priced paints. Oh, dry brush time. A little bit of skeleton bone, probably so far my favorite and most used Army Painter paint. You guys know the drill with the dry brush. Get a little on, get it off, test it on the finger. You've seen it. I'm just gonna speed through some dry brushing and try to give you some examples on how the dry brushing works with Army Painter paints. They're fairly thin, so they dry brush pretty well. My advice would be to, once you get it dabbed on your brush, let it dry for just a little bit, kind of develop that tackiness, and they dry brush much better, but still not bad. Woo, if this was too much dry brushing footage, let me know down in the comments, and I guess I have to warn you, there's a little bit more. But if you're into this hobby, you know, we do a lot of dry brushing sometimes. So as I was saying, despite these being more dry brush action like I said. Haha. Anyways, despite these being on the lower end of the price range, so far, had a pretty good time with these paints. So let's see how they do with some brighter colors. Of course, we're gonna dry brush these two other dragons, these little cuties here. Look at them. Oh yes, it's going on nice and good, nice and great, it's going on nice, how about that? With the blue, it's going on a lot better than the dragon red. And honestly, the three blues I chose, they're working out pretty good together. I am excited. Alright, let's paint some of these horns and some tiny dragon toes. For this, we grabbed up rigid leather, but I thinned it down too much, so it's not doing anything. So we got some more on the palette. There we go. Now we're getting some coverage. Just went in and did all the horns and toes, and I'm pretty sure I missed some of the horns, but I wanted them to look like a tougher portion of his hide. Okay, highlights and cleanup. We'll run around, clean up the edges. We used our washes just to blend them out. Did this on the wings and any good detailed parts. As you can see here, the spines on his going down his back. Here we're just cleaning up inside the wings. Didn't do the best at this. And onto the eyes. Chose Ancient Mummy because it looked like a really nice color for an eye, so we will have to see how it looks when it dries. Being pretty careful here. Oh no. I did some work to this eye previously and not sure what happened to the footage. You see here, we're just concentrating on that line, the classic dragon eyeball look. Yes, looking good. Oh, my brush frayed out on me there. That sucks. Maybe I'll have to try out Army Painter brushes sometime. This old craft brush has seen better days. there's the eyeballs. Could have been better, but I think they work pretty good for these cute little cartoony guys. Oh, this one's got 3 heads. Why not use 3 different color eyeballs? Putrid Slime, Ancient Mummy, Xanthar Blue. Gave these a quick dab in the center of each eye socket. Just really trying to get a little different color in there. Not sure how they were going to look. Alright. So I'd just like to say that the Army Painter paints, despite them being more affordable, I don't think that the quality is too much different. It's just a little bit different to work with, but if you know what you're going in with ahead of time, if you know your paints are a little bit thinner, if you know that they need to just set for a minute before you dry brush with them, in my opinion, that's what you need to do. If you know how the paint reacts, then it's not going to mess up your paint process. You just got to know what paint you're using and how it works. Let's have a look at the completed projects. Okay, hope you enjoyed that little video. Only had a handful of Army Painter paints to start with, I think about 6. So I really wanted to dive into their brand and check out the Army Painter and their paints. And I'm definitely interested in checking out a lot of their products. Their stuff is within reach for me, price-wise and location-wise. I like to support my local game stores whenever possible. If I have to, I'll order online, but I would prefer to drive 1, maybe even 2 hours if I had to pick up stuff sometimes just to support people. So I want to say thank you to all you local game stores out there keeping us all painting. Thank you to all my viewers. Thank you to my Patreons, Jeff C, An Lee, as always. Excellent. Love you guys. Everybody take care. We got some big stuff over here. We got to get after it. Oh no. And don't forget, fight the Grey War, paint them minis.